Welcome to the e-learning course for Asprova hands-on training. 2A. Creating master data. Let's specify the masters from the assembly process onwards. Starting Asprova. Click on the Start button to display the Windows Start menu. Select Programs, Asprova APS, Asprova from the menu to start Asprova. Open the project file. Select File, Open from the main menu and select as2a9.ar4 from the folder Basic 2A to 2C to open the Asprova project file for this training section. This time we will not manually enter the masters, but instead import the masters created in advance from two text files, master.tbl and res.tbl. These two files can be found in the hands-on training folder. Select Import from the File menu. When executing the import, the masters for the items X, AX and AX100 are registered in the Integrated Master Editor table. Let's add new orders for the items X and AX. Select Order from the Table View menu. First, let's add an order for item X. Set the order code to 11. Set the item to X. Set the LET to 2003, October 31st. Set the order quantity to 100. Set the priority to 95. Set the display color to 1. Let's enter the order for item AX. Set the order code to 12. Set the item to AX. Set the LET to 2003, October 31st. Set the order quantity to 100. Set the priority to 95. Set the display color to 2. Let's change to the resource Gantt chart. Let's alter the height of the resources so that we can display more of them. Let's reschedule. Two additional orders have been assigned, with the orders now pegged. If you check the peg relationship between these orders, you will see that pegs between orders are displayed in purple and pegs between operations are displayed in blue. Let's add the final order for item AX100. Specify the order code as 21. Specify the item as AX100. Specify the LET as 2003, October 31st. Specify 1 for the order quantity. Specify 95 for the priority. Specify 11 for the display color. Return to the resource Gantt chart. reschedule by pressing the function key F5. You can see that the newly added order 21 is pegged to the existing orders as well. Now let's take a look at the parametric bomb. Any change in conditions may alter input items and components that are used for a single product. In that case, you may define multiple items for a single item on the integrated master editor by specifying condition expressions for input items and components that may vary according to conditions. By specifying conditions from an order, you may explode and assign the order on the master that meets such conditions. Specifying the integrated master editor in this manner is called Parametric Bomb. Normally, AX is manufactured by attaching a cap to a bolt. However, let's assume that AX can also be manufactured by attaching another cap as well, X2. Let's specify this with the parametric bomb. The property that decides which cap should be attached will be added to the order. Change to the order table. Bring up the pop-up menu by right-clicking on the column header and then select Column Settings. In the Column Settings dialog, click on the New Property button. Specify the name as Order User Cap. Specify the display name as Cap. A new property cap has been added to the order table. Further specifications will be added later on to distinguish the cap used for this property. Return to the integrated master editor table. First, let's specify the integrated master editor for X2. Specify the item as X2. Specify the process number as 20. Specify the process code as CK. Specify use instruction for the instruction type. Specify the resource as CK2. Specify the production as 2MP. Specify the time constraint method as ES. Specify the time constraint min as 60 minutes. Next, we will modify the KD process for item AX. Bring up the pop-up menu by right-clicking on the line you wish to insert at and select Input Instruction. By default, the instruction code will be set to IN. However, we wish to specify X2 as an alternative to X, so we must set X and X2 to the same instruction code, IN1. Specify the item as X2. Specify the production as 1. Next, we need to specify the valid condition expression for the input instructions X and X2 to enable the input item to switch according to the value of the cap in the order. Scroll to the right to find the valid condition expression field. For the KD process of AX, click the button for the valid condition expression of the input instruction of X. Specify the expression as follows. This expression means that X will be used for AX if either the order has X specified for the cap or the cap is left blank. Next, let's specify the valid condition expression for the input instruction of X2 to enable the input item to switch according to the value of the cap in the order. Specify the expression as follows. This expression means that when the order has X2 specified for the cap, X2 will be used for AX. Change to the order table so that we can add a manufacturing order for the component X2. Specify the order code as 13. Specify the item as X2. Specify the LET as 2003, October 31st. Specify the order quantity as 100. Specify the priority as 95. Specify the display color as 3. Specify X2 for cap in the manufacturing order for AX. Return to the resource Gantt chart. Press function key F5 to reschedule. We can see that the order for AX and the order for X2 are pegged in accordance with the condition. Let's check the result when we specify X for the cap. Return to the order table. Specify X for cap in the manufacturing order for AX. Return to the resource Gantt chart. Let's see how the pegging changes now that we have changed the cap from X2 to X. Press F5 to reschedule. The order for AX and the order for X are now pegged in accordance with the condition. We managed to work on the single integrated master editor to set AX with two different component formations and use both of them according to different conditions. Now, let's take a look at the skill map. The skill map registers individual worker skills in the matrix state and reflects them to the schedule. This will simplify the registration and maintenance procedures for the data relevant to worker skills on the integrated master editor and significantly reduce the volume of data registered as well. According to the current specifications, the components X and X2 are to be inspected by the resource CK2. The number of checkers will be increased to 3, and we will try to specify the following 2 points on the skill map depending on the checker's inspection skills. 1. Whether or not the workers may manufacture the components X and X2. And 2. How quickly the workers are capable of completing the inspection. Let's open the resource table and add the new resources. Let's add the new resources CK2A, CK2B and CK2C. The existing CKR should be left as it is, since it will be used as part of the resource group. Set the resource group to CK2. In order to make the resource Gantt chart easier to read, let's specify the display color and display order for the new resources. Now let's specify the skills for these workers. For CK2C, specify 1 for both skill 1 and skill 2, so that he is capable of manufacturing X and X2. Let's specify an alias for skill 1 and skill 2 to make them easier to understand. Right-click on the column header to bring up the pop-up menu. Select Property Definition for Skill 1. Select the Common tab. Set the alias as shown. In the same way, now let's set the property definition for Skill 2. In order to specify the condition on whether or not the resource may be utilized according to the skill, let's set the resource valid condition in the integrated master editor table. Let's change the setting to show the style tabs. Next, select the Detail Style tab. Let's specify the resource valid condition of CK2 for the items X and X2. Let's move the resource valid condition column next to the resource item column so it is easier to specify. First, select the resource valid condition column. Drag the column to the right. Place the resource valid condition column next to the resource item column. Drag the right-hand side of the resource valid condition column to expand it. Scroll down to items X and X2. First, let's set the resource valid condition for item X. Set the condition as shown. Select Skill 1. If you check the Use Aliases Display Names, you can display the expression using its alias. Let's set the resource valid condition for X2. Specify the resource valid condition in the same way as before. select skill 2 by finding its alias. By setting the resource valid condition in this way, it is now possible to assign x to ck2 if skill 1 is greater than or equal to 1, and similarly, x2 may be assigned to ck2 if skill 2 is greater than or equal to 1. Let's return to the resource Gantt chart and reschedule. According to the setting in the Integrated Master Editor, the resources CK2A, CK2B, and CK2C belonging to the group CK2 are open to assignment. However, the resource valid condition requires the skill to be equal to or greater than 1. As a result, both items X and X2 are assigned to CK2C. Let's suppose that there have been changes in the checker's skill, with CK2A now capable of handling the item X and CK2B capable of handling the item X2. Let's change their values in the resource table. First, let's change the skill of CK2A to 2. Next, let's change the skill of CK2B to 2. Return to the resource Gantt chart. The new skill settings should enable the item X to be assigned to CK2A and the item X2 to be assigned to CK2B. Press F5 to reschedule. You can see that as a result of changing the worker's skills, item X has been assigned to CK2A and item X2 has been assigned to CK2B. The setting has been made to enable assignment according to the value of one skill. Now, let's try to have the value of the worker's skills reflected to capacity as well. Return to the Integrated Master Editor table. Here we will change the capacity of the master use instruction of CK2 for the items X and X2. Enlarge the production column. First, let's change the production capacity for item X. Set the production as follows. Let's specify the production for X2. The meaning of this expression is to divide the production capacity by the skill of the worker. In other words, the manufacturing time will be shorter as the value of the skill becomes larger. Return to the resource Gantt chart. Let's widen the columns to make it easier to see the time taken for the operations. When you reschedule, you can see that there has been a reduction in the time taken for the operations as the skill was reflected to the capacity. This concludes 2A, Part 2, Creating a Prototype. Thank you for watching the e-learning course for Asprova hands-on training.